You know when you watch a perfect break in a game of pool? Or maybe you've seen the chaos of a fender bender? Collisions are happening around us all the time, and they seem so random, right? Messy, totally unpredictable. But what if I told you they aren't? What if beneath all that chaos there's a set of simple, unbreakable rules? I mean, when you really think about it, from the tiniest particles smashing together inside an atom to entire galaxies colliding out in deep space, our whole universe is just one giant storm of impacts. Everything is always moving, and eventually, everything interacts. So that leads us to the big question, doesn't it? Is there some kind of order to all this? Is there a rule book that governs every single one of these impacts, no matter how big or small? Well, the answer is a resounding yes, and it's pretty amazing. So, here's our game plan. We're going to unlock those secrets, one by one. First, we'll talk about the one law to rule them all. Then, we'll get into the three different flavors of collisions. After that, we'll put it all to the test with some real-world examples, and we'll wrap it all up with a grand finale. Ready? Let's do it. Okay, first up, the unbreakable law. This is the big one. It's the foundational principle that brings a beautiful, simple order to what looks like pure chaos. And here it is, the law of conservation of momentum. Now, I know it sounds super formal, but the idea behind it is actually really simple. See, momentum is basically just the amount of oomph an object has, its mass times its velocity. And this law says that in any collision, the total amount of oomph can't just be created or destroyed. The amount you start with is the exact same amount you have to end with. Every single time, no exceptions. Now, you might be wondering, where does this incredibly powerful law even come from? Well, what's really cool is that its roots are in a concept that you probably learned back in school, something Sir Isaac Newton figured out hundreds of years ago. That's right, good old Newton's third law. You know the one. When two objects collide, like these two carts here, they push on each other. Cart 1 pushes on cart 2, and at the exact same time, cart 2 pushes back on cart 1. And Newton's law tells us that those pushes, those forces, are perfectly equal in strength and in the exact opposite direction. Okay, so here's where it all clicks together. Not only are the forces equal and opposite, but the amount of time they're pushing on each other is, of course, exactly the same. And in physics, force multiplied by time is what we call a change in momentum. So if the forces and times are equal and opposite, then the changes in momentum for each cart have to be equal and opposite too. One cart gains some momentum, the other loses the exact same amount. The net result, the total momentum of the system doesn't change one bit. It's perfectly balanced. Okay, let's move on. We've established that momentum is our unbreakable rule. It's our constant. But there's another property involved in collisions that's, well, it's not quite so strict. And this is what gives us the different types or flavors of impact. And that other property is kinetic energy, the energy an object has because it's moving. So think of it like this. On one side of a scale, you've got momentum. It's our anchor. That scale is always balanced. But on the other side is kinetic energy, and that can change. It can be transformed into other things, like heat from friction, the sound of a crunch, or the energy it takes to bend metal in a crash. It doesn't have to stay the same. This difference is what leads to our first type, the elastic collision. You can think of this as the perfect, bouncy collision. The best example? Billiard balls. They click, they bounce off each other, and almost none of that motion energy is lost. In this ideal case, both momentum and kinetic energy are conserved. Next up is the one we see most often in the real world, the inelastic collision. This is when objects hit and deform, or make a sound, or generate heat. The classic example is a car crash. You hear that horrible sound, you see the crumpled metal. All of that is kinetic energy being turned into something else. So momentum is still perfectly conserved, but a chunk of the kinetic energy is lost. And finally, we have the most extreme version, the perfectly inelastic collision. I like to call this the sticky one. The objects collide, and then they stick together, moving as a single blob. This is where you lose the maximum possible amount of kinetic energy. But even here, with all that energy being transformed, that one unbreakable law still holds. Total momentum is perfectly conserved. So we've got the unbreakable law, and we've got our three flavors of impact. Now let's get to the fun part. Let's put these rules to the test and see how they actually let us predict what's going to happen in the real world. All right, check out this classic physics problem. We've got Granny, who's 80 kilograms, just cruising along on her skates at 6 meters per second.
And right in her path, we have poor Andy, who's 40 kilograms and just standing still. So, before they collide, all the momentum in the system belongs to Granny. Let's see, that's 80 kilos times 6 meters per second, which gives us a total momentum of 480 units. And then, bam! But she doesn't knock him over, she just scoops him right up. They stick together. So what kind of collision is that? Yup, it's perfectly inelastic. Now the law says the total momentum after the collision still has to be 480 units. But now, the thing that's moving is their combined mass, Granny plus Andy. So that's 80 plus 40, 120 kilograms. So 120 kilograms times their new mystery velocity has to equal 480. So what's their new speed? 4 meters per second. It has to be. It's the only number that works. That initial 480 units of momentum is now spread out over a much heavier 120 kilogram object, and 480 divided by 120 is 4. In order to conserve momentum, the new, heavier combo has to move slower. The law predicted it perfectly. See how that works? Okay, let's try another one. This one might mess with your intuition a bit. Think about a cannon firing a cannonball. You can actually think of an explosion as a collision, just in reverse. Before it fires, the cannon and the ball are just sitting there. Total momentum is 0. So after the explosion, which one do you think is moving faster? The cannon or the cannonball? It's the cannonball, right? And by a whole lot. Here's why. Because the momentum at the start was 0, the total momentum at the end also has to be 0. The only way for that to happen is if the cannonball's forward momentum is perfectly canceled out by the cannon's backward momentum, or its recoil. They have to be equal and opposite. And since momentum is mass times velocity, for the giant heavy cannon to have the same momentum as the teeny tiny cannonball, its velocity has to be way, way smaller. It's simple and beautiful. Okay, so far we've just been looking at things moving back and forth in a nice, neat line. But what happens when things get more complicated? What about a two-dimensional collision, like on an air hockey table? The pucks go flying off at all sorts of angles. Does the law just give up? Nope, it still holds perfectly. And the trick to solving it is absolutely brilliant. You don't try to solve the whole messy thing at once. You split the problem in two. First, you just look at the horizontal or x-axis motion. You basically pretend the up and down movement doesn't exist. The total left-right momentum before the hit has to perfectly equal the total left-right momentum after the hit. Simple. And then you do the exact same thing, but for the vertical or y-axis. Before the collision, there was 0 up and down motion. Afterwards, one puck goes up and the other goes down. Well, their up and down momentums have to be equal and opposite so they cancel each other out and the total stays 0. By breaking the big problem into two easy ones, the unbreakable law lets us solve for everything. It's just so powerful. And that brings us to the grand finale. We've looked at sticky collisions, bouncy collisions, explosions, angled hits. After all of that, what's the one simple truth that holds it all together? It's this, right here. No matter how the objects move, whether they bounce or stick, whether energy seems to disappear or not, in any closed system, the total amount of momentum you start with is the total amount you end with. Period. End of story. So let's recap the big ideas. If you take anything away from this, remember these 3 things. 1. All collisions, no matter what, follow the law of conservation of momentum. 2. Kinetic energy can be lost or changed into other forms, but momentum is that one constant you can always count on. And 3. These rules aren't just for physics class. They apply to literally everything, from atoms to hockey pucks to planets. So, the next time you see a collision, maybe you're playing catch or watching a car pull away from a curb, I want you to try something. Look past the obvious motion. Can you spot the invisible accounting? Can you see that elegant, unbreakable law of physics quietly at work underneath it all?